podcast, where cleanliness is always next to podliness. Now, here are your hosts, Hannah Brooks Olson and Andrew Walsh.
You said something to me once, years ago, Hannah, that has become a big part of my lexicon, and unfortunately it applies to today's show. Do you have any idea what it might have been?
No.
Any idea?
I don't.
You told me that your dad, as a officer of the law, would refer to some people as rolling 08s. And unfortunately, that is how I am rolling in today. It was a late night last night. It was a whiskey-fueled night last night. We were celebrating a friend's birthday, and the fact that I could barely drag myself out of bed to do the show with you at noon is a problem. So you take it from here. I'm going to bed. Were you at the Eagles last night? Were you at the club? That's a real problem. Yeah, just a few of us got together for Katie's birthday. Happy birthday, Katie. And it was a really good time. It was a grand time. But for such a low-key night, I shouldn't be in such rough shape. It's just that they pour him stiff there, my friend.
But I mean, also, it is just, I am rapidly approaching the final year of my 30s. I'm turning 39 in a few months. Mm-hmm. And the hangovers on the wrong side of 35, yeah. I like, more than anything for me, it's pretty rare that I'm hungover. Like, it just doesn't happen that often. But when it does, it is, the first emotion I have is shame. Like, yeah. I have been drinking for more than half my life at this point. How do I still let this happen to myself?
Oh, that's a different kind of shame. No, I thought you were just like shame, like, oh, damn, like I'm drinking too much. You're like, no, I'm ashamed that I can't handle my liquor.
Yes, it's the fact that it just makes me feel so old. Mm-hmm. And then the other issue is when you get older. So if you're listening to this, and for some reason if you're in your 20s and you're listening to this, one, okay.
Hey, kiddo.
Hey, sport. But two, enjoy the fact that in your early days, your hangovers will start to really subside around 3 p.m. Like, we used to refer to that as the witching hour, like, because it's just sort of the moment where you start to feel better. Now, if I'm hungover, it is an all-day affair. Like, it doesn't get, it literally, I cannot wait to go to bed the day that I'm hungover because nothing is going to make me feel better. And I just feel so dumb for, like, getting myself in that situation.
Yeah, well, I can actually pivot this into more of a cleaning/puttering conversation, too, in a moment. But I will say that, yeah, I used to never have I'm still not a huge hangover guy, but I used to never have them. I almost didn't understand them. You know what I mean? When people in my 20s and maybe early 30s, and you're right, you get to an age, and I think you're right. I'm going to go with you that it was maybe mid-30s that what started happening was something, and this is different than how I experience them now, but I started having what I would call late onset hangovers. Yeah. I don't know if this is something that ever happens to you, and I don't know if I've had this in a long time, but there's a period of time where after a night of fun having, Vives and I would get up, I'd feel generally okay, maybe like, drank too much, okay, whatever, take a shower, and then you go on with your day. And maybe the food has something to do with this, but then Vives and I would go to brunch or something like that, like, or a big lunch or something. And then suddenly after that, driving home or hopefully walking home, you're just like, from brunch, I mean, late in the afternoon, like 2 o'clock, suddenly you're like, oh no, where is this coming from? Yep. Like, that is the worst. But I sort of had a feeling that this was going to be the case today. That is why I texted you. Yeah, like you and I think, had it on the calendar to actually record it, I think, noon today. And then I texted you yesterday afternoon, long before a glass ever touched my lips. I said, hey, we should probably do 12:30. I didn't tell you why, but I was like, I'm going to the Eagles. I know how this happens. And so I've sort of set up my Saturday. Genevieve actually asked me to do 2 different social events with her this evening, to which I declined both because I thought, you know what? I am going to set up my Saturday so I can record with Hannah, and if I am nursing any kind of a little bit of a hangover or anything, I can just spend the afternoon and evening really puttering.
Yep.
Tomorrow is my my volunteer pop-up day where we go and we serve food, and I have certain responsibilities with that, like shopping. Like I always we have these bins that we take out, and it's got food serving supplies in it, right? And so it's kind of my job to make sure we always have enough clamshells or to-go bags or bowls, plastic cutlery, that kind of stuff. I don't have to list it all. Harlem Pepper, stop naming bins. And so it's sometimes, because of the way my brain works, that's sort of a treat for me a little bit. Like when I'm done here with you today, I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to open up my my tote bag that I keep all my supplies in. I'm going to take some inventory. I have some notes. I know I have to go to the restaurant supply store. I'm going to restock. I mean, just inventory. That's a big. You don't really play video games, I think. I don't know if you ever watch Keith. I think he's more in that world. But does he ever talk about inventory with you? Do you know that's kind of a big thing in some kinds of games?
I mean, I know it's a thing in the real world that inventory is
exactly.
a thing, but sure, if video games is how you associate it.
But I mean, I think for me, like if I sit down and play like Minecraft, which is something I still will do from time to time, I get into modes. It's just a way of sort of sorting my brain a little bit. It's like, I gotta build another, literally in the game, I gotta build another bin because I have too much rock, and I gotta move all my rock over here or this over there. And I sort of realized, like, I kind of do that in real life too. And so I don't know if you want to say I'm creating a video game in real life, or my video game is just, but there's something very calming to me about kind of doing that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Do you have anything like that?
Oh, almost certainly, yeah. I feel like I love preparing. There's a lot of things I love preparing for. I love preparing for the next day, like especially on days when I have to like go into work. I love packing my bag for the next day.
Really?
Like,
What's in there?
So like if I'm going into the office and my office is like, I only have to go in like maybe once a week at this point. I'm gonna have to start going in more at some point, but it's a little bit of a haul. It's like half an hour away. And so it's not like I can go to work and then like pop right home. Like I do have to kind of have sort of a lot of things with me. So making sure I have my clean coffee to go cup.
Yeah.
Because I don't like having to use dishes at the office. Like I hate using dishes at the office. And so I like to have my own coffee cup that I don't like, my mug that I don't have to worry about.
So you set that on the counter the night before next to the coffee maker or something?
I put it on the kitchen table because I usually don't make coffee before I go into work. I will just get coffee when I'm there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just taking the empty mug or travel mug to work. Okay.
So I make sure I have a clean one there. I have my separate battery charger pack because my phone is very old. I'm limping along this iPhone mini that I love. They don't make the mini anymore, so I refuse to give it up. But the battery life on it is garbage.
Yeah.
So I have an extra battery pack. I make sure I have my work phone and my personal phone. I have usually like a snack, and then maybe I have additional food packed. I have a water bottle. I have my notebook. I have my paper planner. I make sure I have my computer, my work computer, any accoutrement I need if I'm making like social media videos. So like my little microphone. And then I make sure everything's on the charger. My headphones are on the charger. My shoes are ready to go. And most mornings I have to walk the dog, and then I come home and then I leave for work. And I walk the dog in different shoes because I don't like to wear. So like I have my work shoes ready to go to pull little Mr. Rogers moment. And it's just making sure I have like a pen, a lip balm, a gum, whatever the things I'm gonna need for that day. And I feel so accomplished when I have my work bag packed and ready to go the night before. Because I can just and like my keys and my badge in card that I need. So when I have all that ready to go, I feel so good because in the morning it's just so much less to deal with. And so like I definitely understand like equipping the night before, and it makes me feel very prepared and like secure.
That's really interesting. I'm surprised we haven't talked about that before, because for my thing that I was describing, is kind of like, well, it's not to sort of handle any kind of anxiety about my pop-up the next day, because I don't have a lot of anxiety connected to that. But I know, like, for work, and like, I mean, it's, couldn't be more cliche, like Monday morning, right? I don't like the term Sunday scaries. I've always thought it's a little silly sounding. However, it is a phenomenon that is very real, and something that I identified as a very young person, long before the term Sunday scaries was around. I remember talking to my parents about that bad Sunday feeling. And everything you just described, while on any day would be sort of appealing to the way my brain works, it's also a way of sounds like, and I'm not trying to tell you how you feel, but for some people, that could also just be a way of mitigating the anxiety that you might just feel creeping up on Sunday evening.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's certainly less so now. I don't really have this issue so much now with the work I'm doing, but there was a period of my life where I can still, if I look at a picture that I took 10 years ago on my phone, I can tell you if I took it on a Sunday because I still have that Sunday feeling about it, and I have that attached to the picture because there were times where my work life was just so like intense, and especially when I was going into an office every day, and especially when I was going into an office, you know, when I worked in radio and I was going into an office every morning at 4:30 in the morning. Like, I could tell you exactly which photos were on a Sunday because I have such a specific Sunday feeling attached. Now it's mostly just, I just like to be prepared, and I like to, there's nothing worse than like rolling up to a meeting and realizing I don't have like my paper notebook. I really like to take notes on paper, especially if I'm meeting with someone. A big part of my job now is meeting with people and just like talking them through sort of what we can, you know, whatever. And I really like to have my paper notebook for that. And so if I show up to a meeting and I haven't packed my bag the night before and my paper notebook is still downstairs at my work computer station, like here where I'm sitting right now, I feel so unprepared and lost. And so it does also just help. I think in a lot of ways it helps like head off a lot of my like, it helps soothe some of my ADHD stuff too, to know that I'm not going to be, you know, flying blind with whatever I need.
You reminded me of something. I've been very lucky that I've, for the most part, really enjoyed all of my jobs as, you know, that I've had since I was like actually working in my field, right? Since I graduated college in radio. Except for one period of 2 years where I had a job that was in radio, but it caused me more anxiety than I've ever had in my life. And I'm a very anxious person, generally speaking. I have a pretty high resting anxiety rate, but this one was tough. It was like there were some kind of relationship issues. It was one of those things where driving into work, this was in LA, and it was taking me, let's see here, in the morning the traffic wasn't so bad, but it was like 10 miles. I was maybe a 20-minute, 30-minute drive or something. And it was so bad. It was, I don't know if you, I always think of Igby Goes Down, which is a weird movie pull because most people probably haven't seen it. But there's a scene where Bill Pullman is just like in the shower, just head on the side of the shower, just like the epitome of just like not being able to handle life. And I just had my Igby Goes Down moment every morning. I would sit in the car outside of work because I'd be the first one to arrive. And I would sit in my car and just like kind of try to gear up to go in to the basement radio station that I worked in and start prepping the day for when the rest of the team would come in. And one of the things that we would do, I'm sorry I'm making this so long, I'm reliving some trauma here. The first thing that I would do is I'd come in and I'd look at this big whiteboard that we had in this meeting room. And this radio station, while a very cool radio station at the time, had very, very humble accommodations. We were all jam-packed in this tiny little thing in the basement below a cafeteria on a community college campus. And there's this our conference room was this tiny little awful room, and it had a whiteboard on it. And we were starting this radio show, and we sort of took over the whiteboard, and I would draw a calendar on there every month, and we would sort of like, or maybe it was a weekly calendar, I can't recall right now, but I would fill in like what are the planned topics for this day. We would move things around, and then the team would come in, and then we'd look at the whiteboard and plan our morning meetings for content on the show and everything. And then that meeting would break. I'm going somewhere with this. It involves photos. That meeting would break, and everybody would go to their desk. They'd start working on booking the show that we were doing that day or whatever it was, and I would stay in the conference room, and I would take all of those notes that we wrote on the whiteboard, and I would start typing them into a computer to share with everybody for the plans for the weeks or whatever. And then part of that process was taking a photo of that whiteboard. So I would take a photo of the whiteboard on my phone and then sit down with it and start typing the information into a computer. It was a very janky way of doing all of this. But because of that, I had a phone that had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these whiteboard photos on it. And I eventually left that job. Trauma. Yes, I left that job. Now that's probably 3 phones ago, so I haven't seen him in a while, and I'm in a much better place now. Sure. But it was a job that caused so much anxiety and just bad feelings for me that even when I left it for a much, much better job. The job I have now, TBTL, like
Right.
full time. Like and even though I was not fired, nobody, I had talked to a lot of my former colleagues and bosses. Nobody kind of understood I felt like such a failure at that job, but with the exception of maybe one person who was kind of the big problem there, nobody looked at me as a failure. Everybody was like, "What? You felt like you were failing in that meeting? You felt like you were?" I was just this. Everywhere I went, I just thought I was showing everybody my big stupid belly so they could rip it open. And I've talked to people afterwards. They're like, "No, you were just producing a show. You were doing your job. You did fine." But because I carried around this feeling of failure for years after that, for years, if I saw one of those photos of a whiteboard, like it gave me the bad feeling. It was like looking at that mask in the movie Scream.
Yes, where it just immediately fills you with like, and it is really interesting how you associate. And I think we do this with like objects too. Like I'm sure that there are objects that if you saw like something that had been like on your desk or or a shirt you regularly wore at that time, we do tend to really attach those kinds of memories to things. And I think it's one of the things that you kind of have to get your brain around when you're trying to decide how to like move on past a bad situation. Because I'm sure like having those photos on the one hand reminds you of like how far you've come, right? And like you said, it's like 3 phones ago, but like having like that, it reminds you of like how it is a really good thing to have as part of your gratitude journey, but it can also really make you feel stuck too, to like hang on to that kind of thing, or to like kind of keep going back. Like I think it's a good thing to not have them just in your camera roll and have your phone randomly be like, "Hey, remember this traumatic memory?" Which is like why like photo memories is such a
I don't have that, like, because I'm an Android user. I don't have that, like. So on an iPhone, unless you turn it off, it'll just sort of serve up. I've heard of this, but where does it serve it up? Just like on your, like, does it replace your lock screen?
No, well, it can't. If you have like specific like widgets on your phone, it can do that. But usually it's just when you're opening your photo roll, all your photo files.
Like, hello.
Yeah, at the top it'll tell you, here's a memory of whatever.
That's such a dangerous game.
Like,
I mean, the obvious X's. Like maybe people who've passed and you're not ready for that moment right there.
1,000,000%. I saw the other day on it was maybe our cleaning tips. It was it's like a cleaning subreddit that I was on. And someone had shared a before and after of like their house or their living situation where it had been really, really messy. And they had done some cleaning and it was like by far not perfect. But they had taken the photos and they had said it was mostly to remind themselves that even though it's not where they want it to be, it's such an improvement. And I was thinking about that a lot, that a lot of times if I'm doing a project or if I'm doing a big clean or, you're painting a room, I often forget to photograph the before so that I can look and see how much better it is. But I think in a lot of ways, photos from traumatic times serve as like the emotional before.
Yeah. I think you're right about that. I just realized something. I told you before the show that I wasn't sure if I had much to talk about. Maybe we can save this for next week. But I just had an intrusive thought that obviously I couldn't keep to myself. But we still consider on the show, our purview still includes talking about making ice.
Sure.
Right? Or is that still part of our mission here on Spotless? Yeah. Okay, good. Because you know what? No, I've raised it.
I want to say we at the show say, fuck ice, the organization. Yes, ice, the frozen water.
It's been a real problem for me lately, first of all, hearing people say fuck ice, because as you know, making ice is one of my favorite things in the world. Yes. And we're even just talking about like sort of inventory. Like I have different kinds of ice. We're just doing this now, and I'll save whatever other blather I have for other shows. But and Hannah, and some of our longtime listeners, although we haven't delved into this much lately, that I have 2 different kinds of ice in my upstairs. I have these silicone ice makers that I make them by hand. They're an absolute pain in the ass to use, but they make perfect like little marbles, like kind of big shooter marble size
round ice
spheres of ice, which I love. Not the big whiskey kind, but again, like I can't think of how to describe them because I just want to say they're like a shooter marble, which is like saying, yeah, but like nobody knows what a shooter marble.
Okay, it's like the sizes of a pog, but like a slammer pog, not a playing pog.
Thank you. By the way, I love that your references are also becoming antiquated, but antiquated for the millennial generation, while I'm going back to like Andy Rooney games.
We were playing pickup sticks the other day.
So they're about the size of a jack. But anyway, so upstairs,
a jack ball. That's probably about the size they are.
Right, exactly, the size of a jack ball.
Yeah.
They're wooden, right?
Like a pinball, right? Are they about the size of a pinball, maybe, or a little smaller?
Yeah, maybe around that size. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so I have these, and I have a bunch of these trays because I realized they stopped making them. And then whenever I saw them, like on like an end stand at a grocery store or something, I would just buy another one because they don't last forever. But yeah, they're a pain in the ass. I make these little round ice balls for the upstairs, and I like them. If we have people over, it's nice to put those into Genevieve's little mid-century ice bucket and serve them. It's a very satisfying experience. Love those things. And then downstairs in the basement, we have a refrigerator and freezer. And there I just have your average workaday plastic, ice trays. The fact that I don't have an automatic ice maker is one of the biggest ironies in the world.
Truly.
But
although I don't think you also have a real dishwasher and you still wash things by hand. So
that is true, but the dishwasher really sucks. Anyway, and did I just say this on the last show? Literally one of my least favorite things in the world is realizing I need a spatula or a pan or something, and the dishwasher has not been run, but that thing is dirty in the dishwasher sitting there. Then you have to reach in and take it out and then wash it by hand anyway, only it's 100 times harder to wash now because food has been hardening on there since somebody put it in the dishwasher, maybe yourself. So all of that is to say, when I'm trying to remember what the situation was. It seems like it's been so long since we started this basement renovation project, but we have not had our little kitchenette in the basement for going on a couple of months now, I think. And so this has thrown Operation Ice Making into complete chaos because in the basement, I'm trying to remember how this worked. It's only been a couple of months. How have I forgotten my routine already? But I think maybe I stored the silicone round ice cube things downstairs in the basement freezer where I feel a little guilt taking up too much of prime freezer space with my ice cube operation. And Genevieve has never given me shit about it, but I feel like it could happen any day. So I try to be respectful and like not take up so much space. So I was like kind of doing that in the basement and stuff. But now that I don't have my basement kitchenette at all, it'll be there again hopefully someday. But
fingers crossed.
Everything is out of whack. I have no ice cube. I have a little tray downstairs, a little bucket in the freezer. It is empty right now. It's the saddest thing. I should just take it out of there. There's no ice in the basement because I don't know where to fill up my ice trays in the basement. Do I have to walk all the way to the bathroom? Filling up an ice tray in a bathroom seems really wrong to me. And then carrying it across the carpeted floor all the way to the freezer. Spill City.
Yeah.
And then upstairs, I've been trying to keep up with like the round ice cubes, but you just go through them so quickly. And I know I said round ice cubes, and I know that's an oxymoron, but I don't know what else to call them. And sphere is too hard for me to say. I had a lisp growing up. So anyway, it is chaos. And right now, as we speak, Hannah, I'm iceless. Everybody who said ice out, everybody who said fuck ice, congratulations. Congratulations, because I have no ice.
Meanwhile, masked paramilitary freaks are still absconding people away. So the real ice that we wanted out remains, and the ice that you need is out.
Yeah, I think people took the wrong message. I think people. So anyway, thank you for letting me get that off my chest. I'll give you an update if I can get into a better routine or something. But and again, halfway through that story, I'm like, well, here's a long rant about how I'm complaining that I only have one kitchen.
Yeah, I know, right? When never in your life prior to this would you ever think about having two kitchens? Like having two kitchens is literally like a joke, and you become very attached to your second kitchen. Well, lifestyle creep is real. It
is real.
Lifestyle creep will get you. You got so used to two kitchens.
Let's let's stay in the kitchen, but let's move on over to your kitchen now, because
Okay.
you told me this is another topic very close to my heart. Towels. What's going on with your towels?
So mine is actually a bathroom towel situation.
Oh, okay.
So here is my issue. Let me start by saying both you and I have a sort of rubric for when towels get moved from top tier towels to, things that you would not consider your nicest of towels to then when they ultimately become rags, right? The towel to rag spectrum is flexible, right? So the old towels that I have, the towels that I bought when I lived alone in a studio, probably from Target, I no longer use to do things like dry my person after a shower. Those have become dog towels now because I have nicer towels that I use on my person.
And when you say dog towel, do you mean after washing Lola the dog or dirty
washing
dog?
her, after she comes in the house from the rain.
Okay.
She is quite low to the ground, so she often needs to be toweled fairly significantly.
So that's the same tier. That's what I was
Yes.
getting at. It's like you don't have certain towels that are for clean Lola, drying her off, and dirty Lola coming from outside. Dog towels are dog towels.
I have people towels and I have dog towels. And the people towels are tan and some of them are navy and they have a different knit. They're like a wafflier knit. Okay.
Yep.
The dog towels, which did used to be people towels, but like 10 years ago, are full on terry cloth towels and they're almost all red.
Okay.
So I had a real red thing going on in my apartment when I lived alone.
Okay.
Again.
I like this. It's like a red shirt, right? Like on
Yes.
Star Trek, don't the red shirts always die?
Yeah, or like a red shirt freshman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are and again, I probably bought these towels 15 years ago when I moved into a studio by myself. That's probably when these towels are from. They're quite old. But we've been having this atmospheric river. It's been raining a lot, and the dog constantly needs to be toweled off. So we're doing a lot of towel laundry. Now, my issue with this is I thought it was very apparent what was people towels and what was dog towel. Now, and this also, here's the other thing. We, of course, don't have children. It's just Keith and I. Keith uses the downstairs bathroom to shower. I use the upstairs bathroom to shower. He has his own people towels. They are gray. His gray people towels are downstairs. And then we have a set of guest towels. Those are cream colored. And those really don't get used very often because we want to keep them nice for guests.
And those guests would use the downstairs shower as
Yes,
well because your
correct.
guest room is downstairs. Okay.
It's also a nicer shower. It is just
Okay.
a much nicer shower situation.
Okay, good.
So the guest towels live in the cupboard next to the downstairs bathroom.
How do you feel about Keith getting the better shower?
I'm fine with it because I don't want to have to go downstairs.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Okay.
And the real issue with the upstairs shower is that it also has the tub. The downstairs shower does not have a tub. It's all walk-in. And
Okay.
I like to have a tub.
Yeah.
So his towels are very clearly his people towels. They're gray. They're big. He likes a really fluffy towel. I don't.
I do.
I'm not a fluffy towel person. And I thought this was pretty clear. And I've said sort of offhandedly before, like, oh, the dog's coming inside from the yard. She's wet. And I'll say, grab one of the dog towels. Don't grab one of the people towels. And it just occurred to me the other day that at no point had I ever outwardly said, this is a people towel.
Yeah.
This is a dog towel. Because I realized I genuinely don't think he knew what I meant when I was saying that. Because for him, it's just upstairs towels and downstairs towels.
Sure, yeah. And kind of your towels and his towels, with the exception of the guest ones.
Yes. And that they're just upstairs, the ones that live upstairs. Because the upstairs towels upstairs is also where the dog towels live because that's where she's coming and going.
Yeah.
Because it's not in the basement. So I was annoyed the other day because he had used all of the clean people towels on the dog. And then I had to shower after I got back from my run. And so I had to use what I think of as a dog towel, which again, it was clean.
All
of
these
are
laundry.
clean. I'm not pulling any of this out of the hamper. These are all clean. And
yep.
he had just done the towel laundry, which I really did appreciate because I
Sure.
didn't have time to do it. And usually I do it, but he did it and I really did appreciate that. But I was a little snippy with him and then I felt bad. So I was like, oh my God, I think my entire construction of what's a people towel and what's a dog towel exists solely in my head.
Yeah.
And I had never communicated that. So I
Sure.
just
Want to publicly apologize to your beloved?
Apologize. I mean, not really, because I think it.
You can't even. You've already taken it back.
Well, no, because here's the thing. I do think
that was so fast. That was so fast.
Well, mostly because I don't want it to feel like I'm only apologizing to him through the podcast, because it's not really because it's not like really an apologetic offense to be like, oh, whatever. And I had thanked him for doing the towel laundry. It's not like he did it and I was like, and you did it wrong.
You didn't take him to task. Yeah. Okay.
No, but what I just mentioned offhand that I was like, oh, I have to use a dog towel to shower because like the 2 towels that you're currently using to clean the dog off after a walk are my people towels.
Mm-hmm, right.
But the thing I realized was I don't think, because at first I was like, oh, he just doesn't care. And then I was like, no, I actually think I have not been clear about which, like, this is a distinction that maybe mostly lives in my head. So I was then also thinking, like, should I go through and label like you do with your floor towels? Mm-hmm. Should I take a Sharpie and like write on the towels, be like, these are dog towels or these people towels? Mm-hmm. Or should I better categorize them in the linen closet?
Okay. First of all, have you had the conversation yet?
No.
Just let them know, and that'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. That's not a stressful conversation or a tense conversation. Just letting them know. Oh, hey, by the way, I realize I never told you these are the dog towels. These are the people. Are you concerned though that won't stick? Like you still
I'm
think
concerned
there's
that then
division?
I'm going to be, he's going to feel like I'm talking down to him and treating him like a child, which is like I really do try and avoid doing. I really try and avoid being like, so just in case you didn't know. Because like there's a real world where he's like, I'm aware those were just the only clean towels.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I'll be like.
But I don't think, I mean, if you've developed a system and then you're just like, oh, I completely realized I didn't even tell you about my system. Like, I don't think that it has to be a condescending tone.
I mean, the problem is that I think it's very obvious which ones are people towels because they are very different, and the colors are different, and the textures are different, and they're like some are much newer than others.
Sure.
So which is why I assumed that maybe everybody in the household knew.
Everybody.
All 2 of us and the dog. And the funny thing is the dog hates towels in general. She would love it if all towels went away. She cannot stand being toweled off. She hates getting dried off when she comes in. And
this is my worst nightmare as a future dog owner. I want a dog that likes towels and loves baths.
Some do. I would say most don't.
Yeah, I know.
She will like linger at the back door when it's raining because she doesn't really want to get and it's not because like it doesn't hurt. She just doesn't like the process of being told to stand still and get dried off.
I mean, she's a dog. She wants to shake.
Yeah. And she wants to like run around. I mean, her favorite way to dry herself off is to just roll around on the carpet or on the rug that we have. And after her bath, she has a little bathrobe that she wears after her bath. Mostly, it has a little hood and it makes her look like a little bunny.
Oh my goodness. And she doesn't mind that?
She doesn't hate it because she just wears it. It's more like clothes. And it's mostly because her favorite thing to do after a bath is go run outside and try and dry herself in the grass, which undoes what we have just done. So her little bunny towel helps keep her little robe keeps her from like getting refilled up.
Because she does go outside in that thing
and
then you wash it? Okay,
yes. Yeah. But the other problem is just she has like a cattle dog coat. So her coat is very thick. Like it retains water. She stays wet. If you don't towel her off and like somewhat aggressively like get in there, the water just hangs out in the levels of her coat and she will just remain damp.
Yeah.
And so you really got to get in there. But like most dogs, she also doesn't really like to be dried with like a hand dryer. So if she's coming and going from the rain, like you got to get in there, and then her paws are really fat, so like they have like you have to get in and get the mud out from between. So it's like a whole process.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's irrational to say that I don't like the towel that is used to wipe the dog's paws to then, even though it's been washed, to then be the towel that I clean my face with.
Yeah,
exactly.
Of course. Yep.
So I'm thinking what I need to do is just I have a little sort of riser thing that I could put into the linen cupboard and put like dog towels and people towels.
And would you label them?
I would definitely.
Or like label the shelves, I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
so that's an idea. Help. I will tell you this. So let's go back to the idea of marking the towels themselves with a magic marker or like a permanent marker or something. That is something I haven't done in a while, and I have a confession to make to you right now. So my situation with towels and sort of like the level of tiers of towels, like those were all kitchen towel related. For my bath towels, we might come back to this later, but I have like a set of, I think, maybe 3 bath towels and 3 hand towels that I'm just kind of constantly using and washing and using and washing in the machine. And Vives and I have different towels in different bathrooms, similar to your situation. So those are mine, and there's no question about that. But for me, it's like when we get new kitchen towels, and we have a pretty healthy number of kitchen towels because I've tried to back off using paper towels for everything in my later adulthood. And so, and it's good. I like it. But every now and then, Genevieve will come home from somewhere with a new stack of like clean towels, maybe once a year or something like that for kitchen stuff. And then when the new ones come in, that's when I'll say, okay, well, then these older ones will become the basement kitchen towels. And then the ones that are the oldest will be like cleaning towels. And I'll throw those under the sink with the cleaning supplies. And those were the ones that I used to take a magic marker and write floor on, usually FLO with an umlaut R, just to make me smile.
Sure.
And the thing is, though, those towels were easier to write on because that in that particular phase of this life, they were those like I think IKEA white flat towels. They weren't terry cloth. I can't imagine it being very satisfying. First of all, I hate the idea of what it would feel like to try to write on a terry cloth towel with a marker. That gives me a bad feeling. You know what I mean? Just trying to drag it across.
Well, I was thinking about using the little like band that's on it.
Sure. Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
That was sort of what But then
and you
that
could
might not
write
be
different
apparent
funny
enough.
phrases.
Yes.
You wouldn't write dog towel. You could write like, "What's up, dog?" on some. You could write "Who let the dogs out?" on another one. I'm just throwing ideas. I mean, you and I are different people.
I really might have to embroider these at this point.
Yes, I love this.
In case maybe I'll pull my mother into this. And the thing is, too, like in the Northwest,
I love that.
You cannot have enough towels. Like there was a period of time where Keith was like, "Oh, I want to donate a bunch of my old towels" when he got his new ones, and I was like, "No, no," because the thing about towels is you always need more shitty ones. That's
really interesting.
Like I never. Living in the Northwest, at no point, as long as I have the storage for it, and even when I don't, I will find the storage for it. The idea of getting rid of an old towel that still can absorb water, there's always going to be a time when we're going to need it. Like, it's a leak in the basement. I spill something wet all over the kitchen floor, and now I just need to, like, sop it up real quick. Like, I just feel like old towels, there's such a still use for. Like, when our homeowners that we bought the house for when we were renting it, when they moved out and they had this really large bag of old cloth diapers, and they were like, "Oh, we'll just, I don't know, get rid of these, whatever. You don't have to have these." And I was like, how dare you try and take away these perfect rags, because like cloth diapers
Take that box of gold if you want to. I don't care.
It was like, oh, sure, just this, and like, we don't have kids, so like I'm not buying cloth diapers for fun, but if they come my way, manna from heaven, like, and they are my favorite cleaning rags. They are great for I used a bunch when I was staining my cabinets. They were really good for like wiping stain on. Like a cloth diaper is such a good cleaning rag, and I was so happy to have them. And like, I get it, they obviously weren't going to take them, on an airplane with them, but I can make room for that in my life. And so in general, I find more towels I'm never upset about. The bigger issue is like that I have this like very big wall up about what towels should be used for what.
Yeah. So this is why I'm a fraud. And I don't like to admit this publicly, but everything I just said about my tiers of towels, much like the ice situation in this house, it's all out the door now.
Yeah.
It is all out the door because we moved all the towels upstairs. I don't have the basement kitchenette anymore, at least right now. So they all got intermingled. Now, I didn't take what I consider cleaning towels or floor towels. I've kept them separate, but I don't know where they are, to be honest with you. And so there have been a couple of times where I've had to clean something up, like Bingo maybe gets sick or something, and I have to clean it up.
Right.
And then I go to the basement and I go under the sink, and I'm like, there's no sink. There's no under the sink because there's no sink, and that means there's no towels. I don't even know where our old, like what we would call rags, cleaning rags, are anymore. Luckily, the workers had some rags down here. I borrowed theirs, and then I washed them and folded them, which was a weird move. But anyway, so and then all of the other tiered towels in the kitchen are all just kind of intermingled now, and they seem to be enjoying themselves, not being so segregated. So maybe that's fine. But I feel a little bit weird about that. But also, going back to human towels, I'm a little bit different than you. I actually have been wanting to replace the towels in my bathroom for quite some time. I remember feeling like such an adult when Genevieve and I, the towels I'm using now, Genevieve and I bought together when we were sharing a bathroom in our old apartment, and they were, like I say, just gray towels. Maybe they're kind of like Keith's, but maybe not quite as fluffy. And they were nice at one point, but I have been wanting to replace them for years now. And one of the reasons why is I probably won't store the big towels as like cleaning towels. I actually do want to donate them because I know that the group I volunteer with really needs like shower towels. I know you know that too, and I know you do a lot, so I'm not trying to make you feel bad.
No,
but for
this
me,
is true. If you are going to get rid of towels, there are places, again, much like I can never have enough towels, shelters, people who are newly moving into locations, like people who are moving into rehousing, like towels are a
or
thing,
just
like,
living on the street. Like it is one of the most important things, because if they can like go to, in our case, like the Green Lake public showers or something like that, they need a towel. And also, when you're moving around constantly, that's one of the first things that you might let go of, because you can't carry everything,
or because it's not drying,
and it's not drying. Now you got this wet towel, you can't just hang it over the line, and it's in Seattle, it's raining all the time.
100%.
So I think that people go through towels. It's both very important and something that people go through pretty quickly. So I've been really looking forward to donating the bath towels I'm using now. But the problem is here, Hannah, and this comes back to something I've talked about a lot on the show, and I hope it's probably a little bit tedious at this point, but I don't know where to buy my towels because I can't bring myself to buy them online, because I feel like I need to feel the towel. I just can't. I mean, and maybe what I need, and maybe I can get the scrub jockeys in on this, unless you have some advice for me. Like maybe if somebody wants to write in and say, hey, listen, I know you want to feel a towel before you buy it, but trust me, I know you like fluffy towels. Here's the online store that I use. Try that. And obviously I don't use Amazon, or I don't know if that's obvious, but I've talked about it a lot that I'm not using Amazon. So I don't, like, I used to go to Bed Bath & Beyond. I miss Bed Bath & Beyond so much, and now it's in the Beyond.
There's so many... Man, this is so real. I feel like just in general, I've been trying to buy a new pair of shoes for like a year now. And I talked about how my favorite Doc Martens, like the sole is worn through. But I have to go try them on because my feet are not shaped like a rectangle. My feet are shaped like a square. And they are quite wide. I have to go try on shoes. And the idea of first of all, going in and like having my feet fitted by a little man. I'm not sure when I'm going to have mostly just time to do that.
Does that still happen?
I think so.
I haven't done that since I was a kid.
Again, because we just buy everything online, but like there are
with
things
like the metal thing that goes click, click, click.
Yeah, I think
God,
they still
I forgot about that thing.
I think they still do that. And like I would like that to a degree, because I would like to know my foot size. But I also know that shoe sizes are not the same from one place to the next. They're not even the same from one type of shoe within the same brand to the next. And so like I really do have to go try them on. But then when I think about where to go, I have to make sure I'm going somewhere where I know they're going to have my size, which is small. I have to go where I know that I can like get them in the material I want. I prefer not leather. So like there's all these things that are caveats.
And you don't want to be shamed for being a brick-footed woman.
I don't.
There's a lot of stigma around that. So you want to go to a place where you feel welcome and not stigmatized.
Like DSW, like the big shoe store that you would go to in person, half the time they do not carry my size. Like they start at a size 6 and I wear a smaller than size 6 shoe. And so like the inability to go a place and touch something, try it on, feel it, smell it, give it is.
Well, stop smelling the shoes, please. That's looking.
Oh,
creepy.
I 100% will smell the shoes. How dare you?
What is that woman doing in the corners surrounded by boxes and just taking big huffs off of all the shoes?
Sometimes you need a whip, but like there are things that are so because of the one that I'm also still not shopping at Target. And so, yeah, like, where do you go with, there is no Bed Bath & Beyond, there is no,
Yeah, I don't do
Sears.
Target either, because usually I would go to Target, but I'm also not doing all
Honestly,
those.
go to Fred Meyer. Go to Fred Meyer.
Yeah, that's a good point. I should check that out at least as a starting point and see how it feels. Or, like I said, I'd be open if anybody had a suggestion for like an online towel resource that they really like. But again, like I like to feel them, and I don't want to derail us too much, but you must have seen that, like, I thought we were all just boycotting Target because, those of us who are doing it because we're like-minded. I didn't know that it was like an actual, I guess, orchestrated thing that they've lifted their boycott. Did you see that the last week?
Yeah, they decided that
Who's they?
Target. I don't know. No, I don't know.
No, the whatever group was boycotting it says we're not boycotting anymore, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm just like, no, fuck that.
No, we are definitely 1,000% still boycotting. We're not off it. No, you don't get to decide it. I'm still not going there.
Yeah,
but
me too.
So I feel like in the Northwest, maybe like a Fred Meyer.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a great idea.
That's probably where I would go, especially if you don't need it to be like, really fancy or really, you don't care if it's like a nice like.
No, in
you don't
fact,
care
I
if
would
it's Fred
rather
Meyer
not.
Brand.
I don't want to spend tons and tons of money. What I'd rather do is get into a good cycle of using a towel for a couple of years or a set of towels for a couple of years, and then again passing them on and keeping them, because I don't want to wear towels down to the point where they're actually kind of getting frayed or something like that, and then giving those to people. I'd rather continue to maybe kind of cycle them out of my house, but still have them as good towels that I can donate to other folks who need them. So anyway, that's where I am. I'm open to suggestions if anybody's got any there, but I do like the Fred Meyer thing. But yeah, the shopping thing has become interesting, like, not to get super personal about it, but I was a latecomer to Amazon, but then once I started integrating that into my life, I started using it a lot, and it just became, well, obviously very easy. This is so embarrassing, but I almost exclusively wear Argyle socks. I don't know if you know that about me. I don't know if this has come up on the show, but then there was a certain brand that I would buy a multi-pack that has several different kind of color combinations, right? And I probably bought that 5 times off of Amazon over the course of, I don't know, let's say 5 years or something. And then because I'm buying the same socks, I have a really good system where if a hole gets worn into one, I can just throw that one away, but put its partner aside, because I know that the next pack of socks I'm getting there will be another one in there, and I sort of, much like the towels, kind of cycle in and out of their lives, and it works for me. But then when I decided I'm not using Amazon anymore, I had to figure out, am I going to start buying a different brand? Where can I get these? And I think I did find that particular brand, which I don't remember the name of anymore, and I think I bought directly from them. And then for my boxer shorts, it was kind of a similar thing. I had to find a new place, and now I'm on some Land's End journey. But for me, it was finding that. But once I find it, I'm locked in. Now I feel so much better. I can go back to Land's End the next time I need that, and I now have the receipt from wherever I bought my stupid socks, and I can just buy it again. But it's I haven't bought towels since this post-Amazon life for me, and I know once I find one place, I will be able to go back to it. But it's just kind of I have to reinvent it for each new object.
No, I know. And so I was just thinking about this as you were talking. I was like, oh, yeah, where is it that I got my towels that I really love? I got them from Pact, P-A-C-T. And I was like, oh, that's a place to get towels. I
never heard of it.
Yeah, and they don't make them anymore.
That's the thing. Things keep changing. I mean, that's the most Andy Rooney thing. Things keep changing,
but true.
You cannot count on buying something and then it being there again in a couple of months.
I got my towels and my towel sets that I loved from Pact because Pact is mostly.
I'm gonna look it up.
It's almost all 100% cotton. It's very basic. And they also make sheets, and we have several of their sets of sheets. They're not my preferred sheets necessarily. I like crispy sheets. Keith likes soft sheets. So that's just a compromise we have until they make a Sleep Number sheet system where there's soft sheets on one side and crispy sheets on the, and it's sewn down. I guess I could do that if I really was that neurotic, but and so that's also where I got towels from because they were very nice. They're high quality. They're thick, but they had these waffle print ones that weren't so much terry cloth. They were more, I don't know, they're just not as fluffy. And then I go to look and it appears that they no longer make them. So I also don't know where I will be getting towels when I decide to scale up. So who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm on their website right now, and I'm scrolling through all of their menus of various things that they sell, and I'm not seeing towels on here anywhere
Nope,
anymore.
they don't make them anymore.
Oh well, yeah, that's kind of the issue too. When you type in towel, you just get one thing: an organic cotton hand towel that has way too aggressive of tassels on it for my particular taste. So,
no, I don't do.
all right,
I'm not that way.
listen. Like I told you, I don't think we're going to have enough to talk about on today's show. So once again, we failed our listeners by just blabbing for almost an hour now. But listen, we have a very wonderful voicemail that we're going to play for you next week, everybody, about, I don't even know how to describe it, how to deal with a van when you're practically living in it, not living in it, but you're a family with 4 kids and you are constantly in that van and all of the messes that go along with spending tons and tons of time in a van with 4 kids. How do you go about maintaining that so it doesn't become a complete pigsty? And we got a really great voicemail from somebody that we're going to share with you next week. But I did want to offer one follow-up to something we've been discussing. Here, Let me play this.
Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top.
Okay, so we got an email from a listener many shows ago now, maybe 3 or 4 shows ago, named Arian, who told us that her husband got a new job that involved like diesel fuel, right? And like one day he came home from work and just was soaked in diesel fuel. And she did say it's a good job and it's a new job and he likes it, but it was up to her to clean his work clothes, and she didn't know how to do it, and she couldn't soak the clothes because he needed them again the next day. But he was like, it was in the oil industry, right? It happened to
He's
be
a
diesel.
mechanic, I think.
Okay, yeah. And we and the scrub jockeys were pretty outraged that he didn't have more than one set of work clothes provided to him by his company, which should be the case, because she's like, I can't soak these overnight if he needs to get up and get dressed again in the morning and do it all over again. And so we got a lot of advice from a lot of listeners, including your mom, I think, about like kind of how to first of all deal with the heavy grease, oil, gasoline, whatever kind of smells in the clothes. But also a lot of people saying, listen, you got to get the employer to get you more sets of these work clothes. Well,
that was our biggest issue.
That was the biggest issue, yeah. And Arian wrote to us with a follow-up. It says, hello, scrub jockeys. Thank you so much for all the helpful tips. I greatly appreciate all of them. My solution has been to get extras of all work clothes so I can soak them. Borax is my new best laundry friend. Where is you love yourself some borax, do you not?
I love borax as a laundry additive. It is inexpensive. You get a ton of it. It doesn't have added fragrance, and it just seems to get your laundry cleaner. I never have sour laundry when I'm dealing with borax, when I just add a little bit to every load. You can do it on cold because I wash almost everything on cold. And I do love borax. And you can literally get it at like the hardware store. Like you can get it at Lowe's or wherever you are. And it is just no frills. It's been unchanged for a million years. And you can use whatever other laundry detergent you want. Just throw a little bit of borax and it's great.
Love it. Well, Arian is loving that too. And let's see here. The email says, those who were upset at the lack of uniforms, the event I wrote in about happened. The event
The diesel bath.
The diesel bath that he took. The event I wrote in about happened before he'd received his uniforms. I didn't realize he was getting them, but duh. So, okay. That is really good to hear because it sounded like a good job, but it's like, but if it's a good job, why are they not supplying these uniforms? So that's great. Arian says it wouldn't have mattered much that time. The diesel would have soaked right through the uniform and into his underneath clothes as well. And it was a cold day. He was working outside with his insulated coveralls, which are not company provided. So imagine that, just insulated coveralls, just absorbing all of that. But it sounds like the borax and the soaking is working. Arian says, again, I want to thank everyone who weighed in on this. So we can close the book on this. It sounds like a kind of a happy ending.
Yes, that is great. And any chance I can have to hype borax, I will, because it is truly, it's one of those things that is such an easy add and is so inexpensive. And I just find that it helps my laundry immeasurably.
Love it. Now, we got to get out of here for now. But before we do that, I have something that I need to tell you, Hannah. And I'm going to let the listeners in on something. I don't know if we've ever told them this before. But after you and I get done recording every day, we have a little post-show meeting. And the biggest part of that post-show meeting is what we are going to name the show that day, the episode. And we like good punny titles, and we'll go back and forth, and sometimes if we can't come up with something in like 10 or 15 minutes, we'll just say let's do this via text over the weekend, and then come up with something before we post the show on Monday. And it's always a conversation, and like everything on this show, I like to think that we both have equal input. Having said all of that, I have already titled this show.
Great.
I've put it in the show sheet.
Perfect.
And I will not budge on it. It is going to be called Irritable Towel Syndrome.
Done. You got it in one.
So good. It just popped into my head like a moment ago, and I wrote it in the show sheet. And I thought, like, there's no conversation to be had there. Irritable Towel Syndrome. I'm very proud of that.
You're good.
Maybe I should do the show drunk more often.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because you still have a little bit of the whiskey flowing through your veins. Maybe that's the right amount.
Your dad would be so proud. All right. Anyway, thank you everybody for listening. Arian, thanks for kind of closing the loop there. I'm really glad to hear everything is working out. And again, we have some really good stuff for you on the next show that we do in a couple of weeks. So did you have anything that you wanted to add, Hannah, before we get out of here?
Nope, that's it. Except tell me
Looking
where you're
good?
buying your friggin' towels, apparently.
Exactly. You know how to get at us, and if you don't, we got somebody who's going to tell you about it right now.
You've been listening to the Spotless Podcast. If you have a question for Hannah and Andrew or some cleaning advice, call the Spotline at 508-HOW-WASH. That's 508-469-9274. You can also email them at spotlesspod@gmail.com. We'll be back soon. But until then, always remember, life is messy, but it doesn't have to be.